Hello and welcome back to our channel. I'm Colleen and this is Our Blessed Life. And today I'm going to be doing a first semester or second quarter homeschool update. All right, so today we're doing a first semester or second quarter homeschool update. So we started our 2021-2022 homeschool year on June 15th. So we are year-round homeschoolers, in case that sounds early to you. So Sophie, my youngest, is in 3rd grade, and my oldest, Katie, is in 12th grade. And Sophie does have special needs, and so she's not working on a 3rd grade level in all of her subjects. So that'll kind of become clear as I go through the materials and things that she's using. Also, the majority of Katie's classes this semester were actually dual enrollment classes. So she did most of her work at 2 different colleges. One college is a Christian university and the other college is not. And so also a lot of her classes were online just because that's the way they were offered. She wanted to have more in-person classes, but she was only able to get 1 in-person class this semester. Now the online, the Christian school that she did some of her classes at, online was the only option because it's not close enough where she could have attended in person. And also, for clarification, the reason why we used 2 different schools is because she couldn't get enough classes at the main school where she could attend classes in person. They would only allow dual enrollment students to take 2 classes just because of space in the classes for like their freshmen and sophomores. And so because of that, we needed, in order to get all the classes that Katie needed, we needed to use 2 different schools. So that was not like our original plan. It's just the way it all came together. All right, so at this point we have 112 school days completed, or about 22 weeks of school. Like I said, we are year-round homeschoolers, and we have always done that primarily just because it's the way we like to do it, and also it helps with Sophie for retention. So we started on June 15th this year, which is a little bit, about a week later than what we have been doing, and we had a partial summer schedule. Primarily, Katie only did economics over the summer, and Sophie just kind of did everything on the days that we did school. So we're now at the end of our second quarter, and we're getting ready to go into a 4-week Christmas break. Although during our Christmas break, I am probably going to do homeschool with Sophie about 1 day a week. I'll probably only be doing some language arts and some math just to keep that retention. So here's our quick review of the curriculum that we've used and kind of how it's going so far. So the first thing is morning time. We have been doing morning time throughout all of Katie's high school. However, that was just something this year that we had to let go. So because of Katie's dual enrollment classes, it just wasn't practical with the time for us to continue doing that. So I'm kind of covering those subjects with Sophie individually, and Katie was doing her work independently unless she needed to bring me in either for grading for the high school class that she's doing, or for reviewing something, if it was a project or paper before she turned it in, or just if she had any questions. So she was primarily working independently on her stuff, and then I was working obviously side by side with Sophie on Sophie's subjects. So although stopping our morning time was a bit of a challenge for us, because I do feel like it was a time that we all enjoyed, we also recognize that at this point in 12th grade for Katie, we just didn't have the time for it, and it just wasn't really necessary anymore. So I feel like this was a good change for us, even though it was something that we had to get used to. I think it was good for Katie to become more independent. Okay, so math is the first subject I'll talk about. Sophie is using Rod and Staff grade 2. She has completed through lesson 80. I think there's 170 lessons altogether. She's memorized all of her addition and subtraction facts through a sum of 12. And she's counting to past 100 now, and she's counting by 1s, 2s, 5s, 10s, and she's starting to count 25s for like quarters, and she's counting mixed money now. So I feel like she's doing really well. She routinely makes 100% on her her facts drills. I never time them because with Sophie's handwriting disability, that wouldn't really be fair, but I just give her the time that it takes her to write them all out. But if I do orally say the facts to her and get her to respond back to me, she can do it just, you know, immediately. So she does know them. So like I said, I do plan to do math with her at least once a week during Christmas break, just for retention. I feel like that will help Sophie and make it not quite as hard when we start back in January doing school, you know, at a more regular schedule. I do feel like Rod and Staff has been a really good fit for Sophie. However, with that being said, they do kind of change a little bit in 3rd grade, and I am considering moving her to something else, possibly math lessons for a living education. So I'll talk more about that probably in another video, but that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. For Katie, for her math this semester, she took college algebra at the as an online dual enrollment class at a Christian university. And that was a good class for her. Katie really enjoys math. She enjoys algebra out of all the different types of math the most. And even though she had done a placement test at the other university and placed into calculus, she decided to go ahead and take college algebra anyway, because first of all, she was not allowed to take math at the main university that she is attending for dual enrollment, because they would not allow any dual enrollment students to take math, just because there wasn't room in the math classes for, you know, all their freshmen to take what math they needed, and then also to open it up for dual enrollment students. So, and the other thing is she just really enjoys algebra, like I said. So she could have either not taken math this semester or taken college algebra, and she opted to take college algebra. So that class went really well. Obviously, she found it fairly easy because she has had math through calculus, but it's good sometimes just to kind of have an easy class where you don't have to work as hard. All right, for language arts, Sophie has been using Happy Cheetah. Happy Cheetah is a reading program for kids that struggle with reading, and she has gone through workbook 1, 2, and 3. She completed workbook 3, which is the second half of 1st grade, earlier this year, and she is now on lesson 41 in workbook 4. There's I believe 112 lessons in that workbook, and workbook 4 is 2nd grade. So once she completes the rest of those lessons in workbook 4, she will have completed the Happy Cheetah reading program. Earlier this year, when she moved into workbook 4 for Happy Cheetah, I decided to supplement with some grammar, and I used Christian Light grade 1 grammar. They call it language arts. So they have a separate reading program and a separate language arts program. And so I purchased the language arts program and started supplementing that. And we completed the workbooks, the first 6 workbooks. So there's like a total of 10 workbooks. But the program really started getting tedious for both of us. Sophie started dreading it, and honestly, I did too. So I decided to make a change from that, just because it was like the one part of our homeschool that we dreaded. And I think it was just that, first of all, we got to the point where there were like 4 sheets for every, you know, lesson. So it took a good bit of time to do. And also it emphasized some things that weren't like as important to me as some other things that I wish they had more of, like the way that words are spelled out, like the dictionary spelling and things like that. There was a lot of emphasis on that. So what I decided to do in the past couple of weeks is I moved Sophie, so she's still doing the Happy Cheetah workbook 4, and we're going to complete that. But I moved her to the Good and the Beautiful level 1, which I already had, so that was an easy thing to do. And we're just doing 1 lesson of that a day, along with 1 lesson of Happy Cheetah workbook 4. That's taking us 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the day, to complete language arts. And the primary reason why I decided to add something to Happy Cheetah is because Happy Cheetah does not have a big focus on grammar or spelling or rules or anything like that. They do it on purpose because they're trying not to overwhelm the child that's already struggling to read. And it's very sight words based versus phonics based. And I just decided that we're gonna have to transition to something else in the very near future, because Sophie will finish Happy Cheetah workbook 4 before the school year ends. So I thought that it might be good to have a bridge between Happy Cheetah and whatever comes next. And since I already had the Good and the Beautiful, rather than buying something else to try like I did with Christian Light, I decided, well, I'll go ahead and try the Good and the Beautiful. And so far that's working really well. She enjoys the lessons. They're not too hard. So that definitely shows a major improvement with what she's done with Happy Cheetah, because the kindergarten level before was way too hard. and now she's doing fine with level 1. So I'm going to continue that plan for the rest of this year unless there's any issues with that. And then sort of my tentative plan right now would be to move her into the Good and the Beautiful level 2 for next year. For language arts with Katie, Katie only actually needed 2 more credits to graduate. She needed a half credit of economics and a full credit of English. So what she is doing for English is she's taking a dual enrollment class, English 101, at a local university, and that is an in-person class. That's actually her only in-person class that she was able to get this semester. And she did very well in the class. English is her least favorite subject. However, I believe that she really did enjoy this class. She did very well in it, and I feel like that this class stretched her in writing a whole lot. I recently did a video on all the writing curriculum that we used from 4th grade through 11th grade and how it prepared her for dual enrollment English or college level English, and I will link that video up top. I do believe that this class set her up for success for writing for the rest of college, and I'm extremely glad that she was able to take it this year. So she is planning to take English 102 at the same school as an in-person class next semester. So for science, Sophie has been using God's Design Heaven and Earth for Beginners, and this has been a good fit for her. It's on her level, and she does enjoy it. It still has like tracing and coloring pages and like dot to dots and things like that she likes. So I do feel like she's retaining it and she's getting a lot out of it. It is on like a primary level, so it's probably like a kindergarten through about 2nd grade. Next year I am planning to move her to a little bit more robust science instead of those beginner level science. We have been supplementing that with some different science readers as well, but all in all, I feel like science is going well this year for Sophie. Katie did not take science this semester, so I won't be covering that for her. For history, Sophie has been using the Good and the Beautiful Year 1. She is currently on lesson 34 out of 60 lessons, and that is going really well. She really enjoys it. I have the 1st through 3rd grade History Explorer that she does with that. Now, if there's too much writing, I simply eliminate that as a task, because with Sophie's handwriting disability, I like to focus our handwriting on the core subjects like math, language arts, and handwriting. So if there's too much writing in science or history, I'm gonna eliminate that for now. So, but so far that's been working really well. She does like the audio recordings, and she likes the big book of stories. And we had been using that for the past 3 years in our morning time. We would actually just read the lesson, listen to the audio recordings. We would just kind of read through that as part of our morning time. So for the past couple of years, I think actually the past 3 years, we made it through all 4 books. So it is a little bit familiar to her, and she is able to relate to the content. So right now we only do 2 history lessons per week with Sophie. There's 60 lessons total, and that has been working out great. Katie completed Abeka Economics. This was the only high school level course that she did. We did do it as an honors course by adding an honors project to it, and it was an investment project. For the investment project, I had Katie research and then select 3 individual stocks and 1 ETF. We used an investment app called Stash, and she did actually invest some of her own money into that. And then she wrote a paper about the research that she did, why she chose the stocks and ETF that she chose, and she monitored the progress of her investments over the course of the semester. And then in her paper, she evaluated the performance of the stocks and the ETF, and just drew some conclusions about that. And she also covered the issue in her paper about whether it's better to time the market or to invest for the long term. So I feel like this was a good course. I really like the Abeka, like 1 semester courses for like geography, government, economics. I feel like those are really, really good, solid courses for high schoolers. And we also enjoy doing the honors project. I think Katie really got a lot out of that, and she does plan to have a business major, so it was something that was of interest to her, probably more than other projects that we've had to do in the past to bring a course up to honors level. So in our other subjects for Bible, Sophie and I have been doing Bible using a book called the Alouds, and we're just doing 2 lessons a week. Right now she has completed through lesson 33 and we both really enjoy it. You know, I really feel like she's connecting with it and enjoying it, so that's been a good choice for this year. Katie is also taking French 1 as an online dual enrollment class at a Christian university, and that class is also going well. This also kind of falls into that category of an easier class for her because she has already taken 2 years of high school French. When you take a dual enrollment class, you get for a 1 semester class, you get a full year of high school credit because it's at the college level. So this kind of was like her 3rd year of French as far as like her high school transcript will show. She could have placed out of French based on her placement test, but she really wanted to take it, and it's just something that she really wanted to do because we had planned to do French 3 anyway, so we went ahead and just let her take it because it was something that was available at the one school where she does classes online. This course did have an interesting aspect to it where several times during the semester she was able to get online with a native French speaker and speak to that person and kind of use what she was learning, which was, I think, really valuable. And she is registered for French 2 for next semester. Katie also took Introduction to Music as one of her classes this semester, and it was a dual enrollment class. And this was also an online class at her local university. The only way it was offered though was online, so there wasn't an option for an in-person class. And this one went really well. In my opinion, this might have been the class that really taught her how to navigate the time aspects of college more than the others, because she really had to learn like how much effort is truly necessary to put into a class and still perform well. So I think she learned pretty quickly that it's possible to put too much time in any one course, and that, you know, maybe sometimes you can make the same exact grade without putting quite as much effort into it, and that allowed her to put more time into like English, which is a harder course for her. So this class was not a class that she was really excited about taking, but I do think that for the most part she enjoyed it. It did meet an elective for what she will need for her business degree, like a fine arts elective, and it really did, like I said, it helped her adjust to kind of the pace of college classes. Okay, so next semester for Katie, she is currently signed up for 3 dual enrollment courses. One is French 2, and that will be an online class. She's also she's also registered for 2 in-person classes, and one is calculus, and then the other one is English 102. Another thing that I just wanted to kind of note here for those of you with high school students that may be thinking this, Katie could have graduated in December. She could graduate like now versus doing high school for another semester because she only needed economics and that 1 English class to graduate. However, it was her choice to not do that. She wanted to graduate in the spring, and so that is why we are doing dual enrollment courses for the 2nd semester of this year, that she just really has no high school courses left to take. So some of the challenges that we faced, I think I've covered most of them, but some of the challenges we faced in this first semester was dropping morning time. You know, that was definitely a big change for us, and particularly I think for Katie, because instead of starting her morning with us, she was kind of more on her own. And that was definitely an adjustment for me, but I do feel like dropping morning time was the right thing to do at Katie's age and like where she is academically, and I do feel like to try to force that would have made things harder on Katie because it would have taken away from the time that she needed to be doing other things. Another challenge that we had was trying to determine if we should drop the Christian Light education language arts, since, like I said, Sophie dreaded it and I found it tedious, and I'm very glad that we made that change to the Good and the Beautiful. I don't know if that's going to be like a long-term plan for us, but for now that's working well, and I'm glad that we made the change when we started dreading, you know, using that. And then lastly, the other thing that we found to be challenging during the first semester was just kind of everybody adjusting to Katie being in college courses, because First of all, our schedule is driven by the college. We're not really in charge of our schedule anymore. Now, this is something that we obviously knew and we planned on, but it is still kind of a reality that you're living with. And then secondly, the pace of the college courses, I think we're all kind of, you know, getting used to that. I think that Katie has done a really, really good job in adjusting to that. It's definitely, you know, a lot different than the pace of high school courses, but I think one of the things that she found that is an advantage of that is if you're in a class that you don't like that much, you know, it's over fairly quickly. So that is definitely an advantage. So those were some of the challenges that we face. So overall, I feel like we've had a really good homeschool year. I feel like we've definitely had a lot of change this year, but for the most part, the change has been very positive. I am going to be making a video pretty soon about the pros and cons of dual enrollment. If you have any questions about that you'd like me to address in that video, definitely let me know in the comments below, and let me know how your homeschool year has been going so far. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.